Welcome to Face to Face, and today we're going to talk about missing pieces, who are the people who have disappeared, and we try to reconnect with their life and experience. And I'm with David. David, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Tell us a little bit more about your workshop. It's a workshop. It's a design. It's art.
I'll call it an intervention.
Okay.
That actually encompasses a workshop, public art, collaborative work. So the intention is to bring back to life the memory of people who went missing in Colombia.
Yeah.
Through their stories that are told by their families, as a way to create a compelling way to raise awareness on this issue and also make it visible, since even when it's this hideous outcome of the war, it's not that, people in Colombia really don't know about it. And it creates a series of hurdles for families that are overlooked, are disregarded and discredited, and there is a stigma around them and their missing ones. So the point of the intervention is to bring back their stories and deliver those stories, convey the message of those cases to audiences in big cities, big cities in Colombia, and also here in New York
you have done it in New York a couple of times. It's really a humanizing process in some way for people to be able to live this type of experience. Instead of having like a news, it's more like people.
Yeah, so the thing is, we have been exposed to media, like violence on media, war in media, and one of the effects of that, like recurrent experience of war through media, is rejection. So of course, we as Colombians are aware of war and its outcomes, but sometimes we don't really want to know more about it.
Yeah.
Because we are overexposed to those hideous images. So this was a way to convey those stories through a different way, create empathy, create this safe space to talk about these cases that could be related to your humanity, as you mentioned, creating this figure from, like, this human figure from the victims instead of this abstract idea of what a victim is.
We are very complicated issue to talk about it. I mean, it's really for us. We talk a lot about reconciliation through. It's an understanding of what happened and where was the violence and why. Try to find out what was in both sides of the situation and try to really not too much judge, but to really go to the root of that moment or that situation and try to become as close as possible to that, to be able to really reconcile to the situation, because until that happens, you cannot. Your past will stop you in the process. You cannot move on until that is. And I think it's a very powerful your way of addressing.
Yeah. So actually, something that happens specifically with cases of enforced disappearances that you don't know what is going on. There is this huge amount of uncertainty that increases the pain that families and the community surrounding the victim experience, because that's the point of this crime, that you create a damaged social fabric. You deliver a message of terror. The stigma comes out. as creating this sense of untrust and this stress, like recurrent and permanent distress that not only families but all the community surrounding the cases.
So you see your work as being part of the peace process of being able to move on to a more a social non-violent society?
Yeah. So one of the ideas of addressing these cases through this intervention was to bring up the idea of using memory as a way to find peace and justice, also going beyond the idea of punishment and more trying to address the idea of preventing more cases, which is something that families and people around these cases are always claiming. Like, besides or beyond this idea of having or ensuring punishment for the perpetrators as what it means justice for them is more an idea of justice coming from preventing new cases.
No repetition.
No repetition.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
That's the big goal.
Yeah.
And also memory is a way to bring back to life their dignity and their presence and knowing that they are there still.
You need to do it in the US, because in the US we are not learning. We keep doing the same stuff over and over and over, and we put people in jail and we kill them with guns, and then is no discussion whatsoever about any type of serious how we're going to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Exactly.
And the US has more people in jail than China. It's so you need to do it. You need to do that story in the US.
Yeah, we have been collecting stories, but there is one the story that has been part of the main component of activity, which is this story of a woman in Colombia who lost 3 children. One of them, he disappeared, and he is the one who actually causes more suffer to her.
Difficulties. Yeah.
Anyway, despite the fact of suffering all this pain altogether and going through all these tragedies, this woman could be able to go to jail, talk to ex-combatants that actually could be the actual perpetrators, people who could actually kill their sons and disappear the other one. And she decided to adopt 3 of them as their new child.
Wow.
So that is a story that speaks volumes of the willingness of
that's unbelievable.
direct victims in Colombia towards creating this new age of reconciliation and peace.
Yeah.
So that's one story, which is very powerful, and we have a lot of to learn from the victims.
Yeah, from the. How did you end up with what was
this topic?
I mean, did you wake up one day and then?
It was such a journey. I mean, my first idea was to involve design as a way to intervene in victims' processes due to the conflict in Colombia. I was very interested as a graphic designer to somehow connect or use design as a tool to contribute in their processes. So it was very broad because we have victims from different crimes, from homicides to kidnappings to displacement. So I was talking to people here in New York City. I was also watching and seen on social media people disappearing temporarily due to sometimes it was elder people who went missing because of their mental situation. And I met someone here in New York whose father went missing. I had a personal experience of someone who went missing for a couple of days, and the pain, the distress was unbearable.
Yeah.
And I questioned myself, like, how could, I mean, it was such a hideous experience. I couldn't even think about how it was for someone.
It's true, for the consciousness, it's very complicated to have an answer, to have a question, non-answer.
Exactly.
You always try to answer any type of question. And then when it's
it is pretty hard to compare to other cases or other ways of victimization. But when it comes to, for example, someone who was killed, or someone who was kidnapped, there is at least an amount of certainty, and that makes a difference.
I know the problem with the plane you crash, couple of planes you crash, and people are black. They don't know where are the people, where their family member. It's really, it's a very, very, very complicated.
So you can actually go through an actual grief process. You can talk about it. Everything is much more complicated. So that's why it was also part of my interest.
So what's gonna happen with you? You are done with the study? You keep studying?
I graduated.
Congratulations!
But my interest is to carry on with this project, and also from storytelling, which is the storytelling, empathy, creating middle ground with people who haven't gone through these situations, and creating this safe space to discuss on reconciliation, justice, and peace is something that I'm still interested in. So I'm looking forward to carrying with this project, and also seeing ways to address some other cases of or some other groups of victims in Colombia. I'm going towards peace, which is our
main goal. Thank you very much, David, for coming to the show. I appreciate it. That was the show for today, face to face, and please watch your news on presenza.com, and we'll see you soon.